Hi, this is Sharon Davey from Awesome Careers, and today I want to talk about why employers ask you the questions that they do at job interviews. So today I'm going to talk about the questions that employers ask you at job interviews and what you can say, but also why they actually ask those particular questions. They're asking you questions to really sort of get a sense of whether you're a good fit for their organisation, whether you can fit into the team that they already have, whether you're the sort of person that they want to work with. So they want to have a bit of an idea of who you are. They want to know whether you're confident and whether you can express what skills that you're bringing to the interview. It's a general statement. It's quite similar to other questions such as why should we hire you? It's the same sort of thing. They're just wanting to know how self-aware you are, whether you have a clear idea about what you bring to their particular company, how confident you are in answering things. They're really wanting to get a bit of a sense of who you are, and so they're bound to ask you one of those questions. Tell me about yourself, or why should we hire you? And they're fairly common questions, and they really are both the same sort of answer would be required. So you would need to just provide a bit of a summary of what you've done and also what your key skills are that you bring. They might ask you, why do you want to work here? The same sort of thing, really. Again, it giving you a chance to tell them what it is that appeals to you about their particular workplace. So another one that they often ask, and it's related to this as well, is what are your strengths? Now, a lot of people have trouble with this because they think to themselves, if I say this, it'll seem as if I'm boasting. Well, from my perspective is you're not boasting if it's true. And I think what does matter is how you express it. If you say, well, I'm freaking fantastic and I can do this and that, well, that won't go over particularly well. But if you just say, well, I've actually got really good communication skills, I can do this or that or whatever, and it's said in a matter-of-fact sort of way, then that's the way to nail it. It's not getting cocky, it's actually just simply expressing what it is that you have to offer. So it's not boasting, it's just simply being truthful. We've covered what your strengths are. I think that the other question there, what are your weaknesses, has been dealt with on another video that I did on tricky job interview questions, so I'll leave that one. The other one I really would like to talk about, and I've alluded to this before as well, is why did you leave your last job, or why do you want to move on? They're wanting to check to see what it is that actually prompt you to apply for their particular job. They want to know whether you're a loyal sort of person, whether you're going to bag out your last employer, or whether you truly are looking to develop yourself and move to something else that's going to be more of a challenge. And I think that's the sort of emphasis that you should give to that. It should be a positive response to the question and not a negative one about your last boss who you thought was dreadful. Definitely not that. Another question might be, what do you think are the most important aspects of this particular job role? Now, to some extent, you'll be able to answer that by knowing what they emphasised within the job advertisement or what they emphasise within the position description. But the employer's really wanting to know that you have a handle on what it is that is important, and also whether you have paid attention to what it is that they're actually looking for. So if you've read through the position description well, you will be able to answer this one fairly easily, I would have thought, because the key elements of it. For example, with a career counsellor, you'd want somebody who was going to be able to respond to anybody who came through the door and be able to identify what their skills were, for example. So it might be that sort of answer in that case. A question that's often asked is, tell me about how you handled a difficult situation. Unless you've thought about the difficult situation ahead of time, you might get a bit flummoxed by this and just go completely blank and then come up with something that's not really appropriate. So what I'd suggest that you do is prepare ahead of time a difficult situation. You think about a difficult situation that you dealt with in the past, and then also while you're doing your preparation, think, okay, what were the elements in that difficult situation? How did I handle it? They want to know whether or not you deal with people well in that sort of situation, whether you panic, whether you can prioritise things that need to be done, whether you deal with things sensibly, whether you consult with authority, whether you handle yourself with authority in those sorts of scenarios. So think of something ahead of time just in case you get asked that particular question, so that when you do answer it, the employer is going to see somebody who can confidently express themselves and how they might have dealt with something. Unfortunately, one of the questions that's still being asked is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And I think it's a bit of a redundant question these days, but you could do something where you think about, well, what do you want this job to give you, and move on from there. So it might be that you could say, with training, I could be doing this step up from this particular job. So that with some training, you'd be able to do that, and you could say to them, I'm prepared to do some training, and perhaps I could be, instead of being the assistant manager, I could get into a management role. That sort of thing, so that they're wanting to know how stable you are, whether you are thinking ahead. If you're thinking, yes, I can develop myself in this role and I can see myself in this position. They're wanting to have some idea of your thinking around that. Another one that's often asked was actually also answered on the tricky job interview questions, which was, do you have any questions? So you always make sure with that you've thought ahead about things that you might want to know as well. Also to keep that one focused on things like training and not on wages or not on leave and that sort of thing. So this is Sharon Davey from Awesome Careers. Check out the website awesomecareers.com.au and also the Awesome Careers app. And I'll see you on the next video.